First night out alone. Boy, boy, boy. It's hard to imagine for me that this is going to be fun anytime soon. I can remember when I were like 10 years younger or so, I actually started to go out alone to go to drum and bass parties, because drum and bass parties are basically the only electronic music I really can enjoy. Like really, or where I like not even have to think about whether I like it or so. If it is like fast drum and bass music, I can just dive in there and dance to it for hours. I still can, but I didn't do that for a long time. Well, day four in my adventure of going out 7 nights in a row, because they say magic things happen then. Oh yeah. Yeah, I'm a little bit thinkative, thinkish. I think a lot, whatever that is in English, because I had the weirdest dream, and that made me, well, definitely not feel so good, the dream. When I came back home yesterday, I didn't feel so excited, happy as the other days, but it was okay. But really, like, the dream messed with my head. Well, anyway, I'm gonna tell you what happened yesterday, and then I'm gonna come back to this dream. So there's this club called Berghain in Berlin, and I think I don't know any of my friends who hasn't been in there, and all of them, they like it, like, in a way. And I only tried to go there once a couple of years ago, and I didn't made it to the bouncer, and they got like a very strict door policy. I have no idea what is behind that and why they're doing that, and from all the reviews I read, like, they really like piss a lot of people off. But then I read in the review, well, and we didn't go to Berghain but to Matrix, and that was fun. So I guess, like, these kind of guys, the door policy works in the favor of the normal customer of Berghain, because, like, nobody who likes Matrix is supposed to be like in any other club. That's like a shithole. And yeah, well, so I went out at 11ish, something like this. I took myself on the bicycle to Berghain, which is like a 20 minutes bicycle ride or so. And I was in the beginning, I was pleased how short the waiting line is. It were like maybe 20-25 people like in front of me. So I thought, well, this is nice. I don't have to wait too long. And then I was standing there for the next 1.5 hours, and nothing happened. Because, like, on their webpage, they didn't announce when it starts, so yeah, that was annoying. I remember from my friends that they tell me that they always go there, like, in the night, like at, I don't know, 5 o'clock or even like 9 o'clock in the morning or so. And so I kind of calculated already that they're gonna start late, but that they kind of open the door at 1:30. This is like again the messed up Berlin thing. I don't like that at all. I mean, really, like, do people like do not have anything else to do? Like, I mean, like, if you only like think about the sunlight, I really like, this is like one thing I really don't like in like going out at night at what they call the night game. like it's like really in the night, and you miss like a lot of sunlight. And in my previous life, I suffered seriously from vitamin D insufficiency, which resulted out of like not being in the sun, because like I used to be like a guy were like always sitting in the apartment, and I had several years where I didn't go to sleep before like 5 or 6 in the morning, just like doing stuff at home and then sleeping like half the day. So I really worked on myself to like not do that anymore, but like to have a healthy lifestyle where I go to bed when it's night, and I wake up when the sun rises, and then enjoy the day and enjoy the sunlight and enjoy a healthy life. And now I'm about like to voluntarily like change that back to the crappy mode. I'm really like not so happy about that. So, well, because of that, I mean, I'm willing like to suffer, and so I set myself a schedule that I try to like make it not longer than 3 o'clock in the morning, which I think is supposed to be okay. I mean, everybody who's like does proper working probably does not go out later than that. On the other hand, they're starting. Well, I'm gonna tell you later. So one more point. I started to make a list. That I don't forget anything, because yesterday I forgot to tell you about another set we actually met. It were when we left the party, and before we came back yesterday, we went to a bar and met there like 2 girls from Australia, and they were cute. And they were 18, and they kind of learned German in Australia, and then came here to make like this, I don't know, like 3 weeks round trip around Europe. And like, yeah, well, that went well. I opened them, and then we were talking for like 10 minutes, and then it was clear that there's nothing gonna happen. And I even asked them for her number, but they told me that they don't have any. So that was that eventually, but it was still like 10 minutes, like really fun. And I forgot to tell you that. So I made a list today. Well, anyway, arrived at the queue from Berghain. There were like 6 people like in front of me, like a group of 6 people, and that were 3 women and 3 like really, really beautiful women, and 3 men. So I just how I learned it, I started to talk to the first lady, and then to the second, then to the third, and then to the first guy, and the other 2 guys I didn't like too much to talk to me, so I didn't. I think they introduced eventually themselves to me, but I talked with the first woman the whole time I was standing there, and a little bit with the second one. They were all from Tunisia, but living either in Paris or in Amsterdam. So they were just in the town for partying for a couple of days. So actually it went really well. Like after a couple of minutes, again, like you see like the spark in their eyes that they like kind of like give you notice that they like you. But on the other hand, there were like the guys, and they were like apparently like her boyfriends. So in the end, I mean, it was really cold, and everybody were like freezing his ass off. And in the end, like everybody, like every man had like one woman in their arm, but it kind of looked like that these are the boyfriends. I haven't really asked whether they're like in a relationship. I just wanted to talk and like, like socialize. Yeah, but it was okay. So, well, eventually when they finally opened, it was like pretty much that the first like 50 customers who were standing in line were like go here, you're not gonna come in here. Like for really like no reason at all. I mean, there were like a couple of guys who looked like really like normal, boring tourist customers, and I can understand why they're blowing them off. But like early before they opened, they were like this guy from Tel Aviv showing up. He looked like already like a little bit as a stereotypical Berlin gay community member, and which is, if I recall it right, like the average customer of the Berghain. But also he got blown off, and he was like a little bit devastated because the line, he thought like putting himself in the line, but like once they opened, the line were like 200 meters long and like, I don't know, like 6 or 7 meters wide. So they were like behind us like 500 other customers, which makes it understandable why they say like, well, you came first, you're probably suckers, so you cannot come here. So, well, that sucked. And but and in a way that it sucked, I'm gonna tell you later on, like why it so sucked for me. That's connected to my dream again. Anyway, I my goal for tonight, I thought, except of like making it and like having fun, was like actually to get blown out. So like I actually didn't really expect them to let me in. That would have been a surprise. I still want to see like what is inside there, but eventually I didn't really like had the expectation to that I gonna be like in the end in the club. So I already had a plan B where to go. And so when they said like, well, you cannot come in here like everybody else, I just took my bike. Like I didn't hesitate like at all. Like the others were like, what? I cannot come in? But why? No, not for me. I hate that. So I smiled at them. Well, then good night. I took my bike, and so I went to this Revaler Straße again. So and drove to the Rosies, and by then it were like only already 1:30. So this time Rosies wasn't completely empty. It was like still fairly empty, like maybe like 50 or 60 people in there, like, and the club can like host, I think, like easily like a party with 500 people, probably more. So yeah, well, it was okay. So then I first chatted a little bit with the women on the entrance, then, well, from the ticket counter. Then I chatted with a guy from the bar, like about, he were like telling me that he's like kind of messed up because he worked yesterday already and he didn't know whether he gave me this coupon, which I'm supposed to give back when I give back my bottle to get my bottle deposit back. And yeah, this was nice. Like also with him I talked like 5 minutes or so, like about random stuff. So then I went to the dance floor, the first dance floor, and there were like maybe like 5 people dancing. So I were like the 6th, and the music, I mean, it was not drum and bass music, but it was good enough to make me going. So I started to enjoy myself and like we're dancing around, and then there were like this cute South American looking girl and 2 guys. So I danced and like I surveyed them a little bit, and well, after a while it really appeared to me that this woman is like not in that the guys, that none of them is like her boyfriend or something. So I thought like, well, then let's just approach her. Like, so, and I then there were like the opportunity that the guys left the dance floor, like apparently like to buy some drinks or so. And so I approached her and like asked her, well, what are you doing alone here? Like, where are your friends and where are you from and what are you doing? And yeah, well, when it was okay, like we talked a couple of minutes and then I started dancing again. And she was South American, like from Barbados or Bahamas or something like this. Barbados. Yeah, well, she was cute, but and then I later approached her again, but apparently she was not really receptive, and later on I think like she has a crush on like one of the boys she was with there, because like he were like, it was interesting because he showed this, I have like actually like no interest in you, you are like just a friend, and she were like, I want you, like in this direction. So again, with more experience and like more like, maybe I could like show her that I'm the boss, or maybe she's just one of the women where just nothing can happen. Anyway, I dared myself to speak to a woman on the dance floor, and this is first real success of the evening. Actually, like to talk to the three women in front of Berghain also was a success, but I couldn't just stand there for 3 hours and say nothing. Like there were like another lady like next to me, also waiting in front of Berghain. She had like this hoodie like on over her head, like that only like her eyes like were like looking out, and she even had a book. So she like were like really like, nobody talks to me. I'm like with my own here. Like I didn't really see whether she entered, but she's like from what I heard, like the typical Berghain customer. So I could imagine that she actually got in. Yeah, well, I cannot do that. I'm a social person, so definitely like standing in line and like for 1.5 hours talking to nobody, like, and freezing my ass off, that would have been torture. So it's like not that I talk to this group in front of Berghain like the whole time. Well, like every once in a while, like a couple of minutes where we didn't say anything, but in general, most of the time we talked. So yeah, well, I opened the South American cute girl, and I was happy that I managed to do that. And well, then I were like wandering around, and then Rosie said they have like these special things, that you get like stuff for free or like weird stuff. So there were like this time like women clothes they tried to fit me in. There were like this room, there were like women clothes, and I like it were like only women clothes, and they were asking, no, do you want to have some clothes? And I like, oh, careful, I want to have a skirt. And then they like dove into their women clothes and tried to find the skirt for me, but there weren't any clothes that were fitting me. So I thought like, yeah, well, it's a skirt, but only for one leg. And yeah, it was kind of fun. So eventually I ended up eating like a cake they bake, and donated them 50 cents for it. And yeah, well, that was also like a fun interaction. And after that, there were a second dance floor to be opened. And while standing in front of the dance floor, there were like a door, like a metal door, but you could like look through it, so you could already see like the equipment behind it. And like while standing there and like looking at it, like a guy were approaching me, like probably like 10 years younger than me, like but he was like, he had like this really genuine sympathetic face. And I don't know, like he came closer. I don't know whether I talked to him or he talked to me, but it turned out that he's like one of the musicians who like were starting to like to make this kind of music performance set. It was like they had the electrical guitar, they had like some keyboards, they had like some drum set and some other electrical equipment. So it was a performance of 4 guys. I think the guy who were like sitting in front of the other electrical equipments here, he had like also a mic. So yeah, well, they did like some live electronic music eventually. So this was like actually quite nice. And while talking to him, the South American girl passed by. So I took the chance like and introduced her to him. And that's again what I learned from RSD Luke, that you like if you try to build a social circuit, yeah, you connect everything, and then they get the impression that you're like this social, like, well adjusted person, and this is like how I felt in this moment. But it did not make her like being more receptive towards me. So, well, anyway, then there were like another girl appearing. No, like I walked a little bit around, and then we're like a woman coming, and she smiled at me. She looked me in the eyes. I looked her in the eyes, and we smiled at each other. But we were like walking, so we were like a thing of like 1 second. But I thought like, well, I definitely gonna remember her because she had like this skirt with like stripes. So I thought like, well, that's this guy. I gonna see her again. And I did when the performance started, and I started to talk to her. She were like a girl from the United States, like somewhere close to California, and I talked to her like about medical marijuana and stuff, and she were kinda receptive, but also kinda like closed, and with her it turned out that she were the girlfriend of the guy I talked before, like one of the performers. Well, I thought like this is sad, but also good because I were able to talk to her, and later on I asked her how they met, and turned out they met at Camp Tipsy, which is like some alternative music festival. And in Camp Tipsy for a couple of years they have a naked bar, so it's like an area on the music festival. It's like a music festival that goes like over a couple of days, and you were living in the tents and like somewhere in East Germany, and they have created this area with where people like are naked, and actually I asked her when that was, and she told me like 2012, and 2012 I was there too, and I were as well in the naked bar, but nothing happened there. It were like just I mean, it was a huge area and like only a couple of people in there, and they were like platonically talking to each other but naked. And I was actually a little bit disappointed because like platonically naked sitting next to each other, I can also like do it in the sauna or in a nudist beach, and I don't have to have this environment of a club to do that. But she told me that it turned like around over the last 2 years, so, and now there were like hardcore fucking going on in this area. So this makes me think that I'm gonna go to Camp Tipsy again next year. It might be like more fun. So I talked with her like even sexually, so I'm sure that there could have been something if she would be like in another mood, so I don't gonna beat me up over that. And then it was like already like a little bit after 3, and I decided, well, let's call it a night and go. And the moment I left the club, like 3 women approached the club, and like and one of her, like she were like really like smiling and looking me in the eyes. I felt like so warm in my heart and in my dick, and she was so beautiful. And then I turned around and were like, if I would have known that you come, then I would have stayed longer. While actually nobody forced me to like not stay longer, except of my wish like to live a healthy life. And yeah, well, that was like the tip on the iceberg, kinda. And so I went home, and that was the night. I think for a night being out alone, especially the first night in so many years, and so I did quite well. I didn't hate it. I actually like enjoyed most of the time, and I never actually didn't enjoy it. It was like sometimes I was like indifferent to it, but mainly I liked it. So let's hope by going out more alone, I gonna develop a better feeling for that. But now I come back to the dream I had that made me thinking. You know, I dreamt about like how it would be inside of the Berghain, and I think one of the major reasons why I actually haven't tried again to go to the Berghain when I were blown out like a couple of years ago before. It's like because I kind of think that I really like when it comes to alternative places like this, I kind of think I have a inferior complex. Like because all my friends who are going there, like there are like all these cool dudes and ladies, you know, like I have no idea. Like it's not that I fear inferior towards them, but when they do stuff in like alternative or like locations or like environments that I think that are cool, and I always think like, well, they're like supposed to be there because they're like a part of that, and I'm not, and I cannot imagine that I ever could. I'm like I feeling like inferior, really like towards that, and really like this was in the dream. It was hardcore. We like because like in the dream I somehow I made it in. And I always felt like when I entered like a room, like I do something wrong, yeah. And there were like these crazy people with like crazy outfits and crazy hats and doing crazy things, and I didn't feel at all like I am like one of them. I felt like an intruder, like someone who like walks around there, and whenever I something happened. I did something. And someone approached me. It was like I faked like to know what I'm doing. Yeah, so I faked that I'm the cool guy, while I actually didn't feel like at all like this cool guy who knows what he does. And this is like how I probably like feel in reality, like not even in the dream. I feel I do not belong with them. I feel like completely like not cool like in a social situation like this. And well, this is like it even like makes me like not feel so good in my stomach if I think about it. And yeah, well, I definitely hope this is going to change, because like from a objective point of view, it's just not true. I'm like as good as everybody else, and I'm as cool as everybody else, and according to what I do with my life and how I do that, I definitely there's like no reason to feel the way I feel and to have like these crazy dreams that mess with my head. Yeah. Well, I'm not gonna. I try not to dive deeper into the bad feelings. But I try to. I gonna focus on the positive side, but I really looking forward like to not to have this kind of feelings anymore, like this inferior complex feelings. And well, from what I heard and said and when watched and read. This is going to go away with more and more success with women and more going out, and I really hope that this is going to be the case. It does not feel like it is going to be the case, but then again, I trust in the experience of the professionals in this area, and I hope for me and for you who listens to this and have maybe like the same problems with this, that eventually will disappear or like evolve into something else. So out of a more melancholic mood today in the morning, I'm gonna leave you now and gonna tell you what happened tonight, because I'm going out to my 5th night in the 7 night in a row adventure.